Good to see you again, buddies. It's Concert Buddy. Quick video that I want to address something that's been bugging the shit out of me lately, and that is quality control issues, specifically seam splits. I am getting a ridiculous amount of records in the mail that come to me with seam splits.
You don't deserve this.
I haven't found a permanent solution to this issue, but I do have kind of a workaround, so cue that lever and I'll get right into it. Now I know COVID-19 is kind of in the rear view of our collective psyches, but what's not in the rear view of the record collector is quality control issues, be it records that are coming new, that are needing to be washed right out the gate.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
To what I want to talk about here in this quick one, seam splits. Now this is a video that is really close to me because, and particularly, one of the reasons I wanted to fire this off is I had a really bad seam split week for some records I ordered in the mail. Approximately, I got 5 shipments. It was a busy week. I got 5 different records delivered to me, or orders of records. And 3 of the 5 had something with a seam split in it. Could be a minor little one. It could be, I had one that was completely blown out. And it got me thinking, what the hell's going on? But before I launch into hot take mode, because warning, this is a hot take mode. This is so hot. I've got the oven mitt and I've got the handle mitt, so I am ready for this. But kidding aside, a couple things are going on here in my opinion. One, cheaper materials, particularly the outer sleeves. I think that in the push to save money, manufacturers are really cheapening down the cardboard stock or the paper stock that they're using. Paper stock, like all raw materials, are going up right now. So I'm sure manufacturers are looking for cost savings. Not everything can be a Stoughton or a tip-on jacket or any of that kind of stuff. That's part of the dilemma. Another part of the dilemma is a lot of the vinyl coming out now, new vinyl, is at 180 gram, 140 gram plus weight. And that, when in transit, a little jostling in that little box can make a big difference. And there's a lot of sliding around. And, don't get me started on how the mail carriers want to do frisbees at the Olympics and stuff. But I think that's a big part of it too. So you've got cheaper paper outer sleeves. You have these heavier, dense material, thicker vinyl moving around in the package. 3, I think, and I've noticed this firsthand, I'm getting primarily a lot of my seam splits at the top of the jacket. And I think that's, and actually I know it's because they're loading the vinyl in the inner sleeve facing that way. So if there is any movement, it's the vinyl is coming out of the inner sleeve in transit and going right there, back, forth. And that's causing the friction, it's causing the impediment, it's causing the seam split. So I would love if anyone who manufactures records or can influence this in any way, easy solution from that perspective is just make sure that the vinyl opening in the inner sleeve is aligned with the mouth opening of the outer sleeve. I think that's an easy solution. And then the 4th thing that I see that's really causing this is these stupid paper sleeves. Again, manufacturers trying to be cheap, trying to save money as a cost savings, and insulate their margins. Using paper sleeves, which I'm sure a lot of you can empathize, is beyond ridiculous, particularly as the price points lately in records and vinyl is going up. The expectations to me should be going up. And why we have not switched to polylined across the board is beyond me. I know it's, the difference between a paper sleeve and a poly sleeve depends on obviously minimum order quantities. It depends on volume, all kinds of stuff. But at most, you're talking 20 to 25 cents that I'm sure the customer would love to absorb if that meant that the records would not come with paper burns and or these stupid seam splits. So all of those hot takes aside, pop. I do have a small solution that I employ that hopefully you guys can take from this video and maybe make this easier, because it's such a pain in the ass to contact these companies you're ordering or the shops you're ordering records from and asking for replacements or send these things back or whatever. One good practice that I've used a lot when it comes to my consistent places I order from is I just ask them, hey, can you open the record and ship the record in inner sleeve behind the outer jacket to avoid any seam split opportunities or challenges. And for the most part, my steadies that I order from out of state in particular, excuse me.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think McFly, think.
Have no issue with this, because guess what? That means they don't have to take a return. That means they don't have to deal with giving a discount, all that kind of stuff. So 30 seconds of opening it for me, putting it behind and shipping it saves both of us a lot of time. So that's one remedy. But the other remedy is one that I actually employ, and it's to, and I'll have a video here, a little footage to show you one I actually got recently and how I fixed it as best I could. And I call it refixed because it's a new record. It shouldn't come this way. But I use a fine tip Sharpie pen like this. Do not use a traditional Sharpie like the fat tip or the customary Sharpie. You definitely want one that has a fine point. It'll say on their ultra fine point. Hopefully that picks up. Because in my experience, as I've tried this method out, you need something that can really get into the seam and kind of fix it, or at least cover it up. Because basically you're covering this up.
No, that's correct.
When I've used the traditional Sharpies, they've actually bled over and it's kind of caused a problem. So you definitely want a fine tip Sharpie. And then you can only do this on what I would say is color specific kind of bleeds or seam splits, particularly if they're black. And I found that the black one works the best. Sometimes the jackets are different colors, they're white, they're blues, etc. I mean, you can still employ this. It'll look kind of weird. I mean, if you want a black cover up on a blue jacket, that's completely your prerogative. But a lot of jackets do come with, the seams are black, so that helps. I've tried this several times, and this is kind of my go-to method because, as best, not all companies and not all places I order vinyl from can open it up, ship it behind the jacket like I like. So in the instances that I've gotten them sealed and they've come to me like this, I've employed this method. It's enough jibber jabber, it's enough word salad. Let me show you a little footage of me doing one recently, and then that's going to close it out. So here we've got a record I just got, the Daptone Soul Review. It had multiple seam splits, got two seams, kind of had a dent in it too, big drag. So here's my ultra fine point Sharpie. I literally just take the white of the seam split and just start kind of filling it in gently. Sometimes it takes a couple passes because you don't want to press too hard and invert the seam split, but you also want to be very clean with what you're doing, because unfortunately this one's black on black. It kind of comes in a little bit better black on black, but if you have a two-tone seam and the splits on the black, you don't want that to bleed over at all. Again, that's why I use the fine tip Sharpie here. But like this one, you just got to kind of go along the seam and just kind of like dot, 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 very like loose application, just kind of filling it in. Again, it's essentially adult Crayola coloring book situation, but I've found that this helps to at least not make it as obvious and pronounced. I mean, this was a 3 LP set, so there's 3 records moving around, so I wasn't really surprised that this got split. But as you can see, it starts looking a little bit better. It's not perfect, but it's probably the best solution. Then I just kind of go back over, see if there's any white that got pushed out that I'll fill in. Wait, there's more.
But wait! There's more!
So there's another type of seam split that I'd be remiss about not discussing, and that's the conventional, the OG of the seam split game. If you go back to records made in the 60s, 70s, even some in the 80s, the materials were different and the way they laid the seams were different to an extent. So with that, there wasn't so much of records breaking through the seams like kind of today's seam split crisis, if you will. It was more of the actual seams would truly separate. So I have an example of one because I learned this technique years ago when I was more in the game of finding records at thrift stores, out in the wild, antique malls, etc. Not to say, again, you can still find records there, but records with value, records that were ones you really were excited to add to the collection. So recently I picked up this Linda Ronstadt Silk Purse record, and it came, the entire upper seam was unglued. That's kind of a conventional split with these older records. You can approach this 2 different ways. One is there's a new material that is very easy. I actually got this. This is called SeamEazy. And literally what this is a piece of cardboard inlay with kind of self-adhesive. Put on the side, it's, you can see, are patent pending. But really what this does is it comes with a prefab crease that you can literally fold this in half and literally make a new seam. I don't know if this will show, in the upper portion of where the glue kind of comes off. You can probably re-glue it here, and I'll kind of show you something here in a second, but this is something that was new to me. I literally found these at an estate sale, and I wasn't familiar with this product. I've been using it ever since because literally it's already pre-creased, it's already cardboard material on the inside, and then literally it's like peel and stick. Peel, fold, stick. I like to let it set for 24 hours, and this other technique I'll show you in a second, same thing. I like to put some books on it and that kind of stuff. But before I learned of these SeamEazy strips, I had learned about, kind of from the art world, I think it is, you can use what's called paper hanging tape. And the main thing you want to look for, particularly if you're repairing album jackets, is make sure it's archival and particularly acid-free, because a lot of the materials can bleed into the cardboard you already have and ruin it and all that kind of stuff. But literally very similar to the SeamEazy. You just cut a strip as long as you need it. Sometimes these seams come unglued all the way through. Sometimes it's only partial. You know, you kind of figure it out as you want. But you essentially take this, it's kind of a roll tape, and you literally roll this out as far as you need it. Same kind of premise as the SeamEazy. You fold it in half, but you use like water, or you can use like some adhesive spray, whatever you want to do, to kind of make it gluey, if you will, because it does kind of have some bonding properties already on the tape, the paper. And same thing, you just kind of put it on there, let it bond, and like I said before, put something heavy on it, give it a good 24, maybe even 48 hours if you're feeling frisky, and that will help set the seam. Now, it's not perfect. As you can see on the SeamEazy, it's pretty good. If you compare it to like the original seam, hopefully that comes up, it's pretty decent. Kind of the Olay 2 right there. But it's a way to restore and save these jackets, as opposed to just, you know, literally letting them kind of flap open like I could really say something inappropriate here. Letting them flap open in the wind, right? But anyway, so buddies, that's it. Tell me what you think. Do you have any other techniques you use in your record collecting game to fix seam splits, be it the breakthroughs, be it the traditional OGs I just talked about here? Really curious. I'm all about sharing best practices. So hopefully you found value in what I shared here, and vice versa. Bring it, bring it, bring it. If you guys have some techniques or ideas to combat the seam split war, let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys.
That was amazing. You gotta make a tape series out of that. If you need financing for that, you tell me.
All that said, it's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Always appreciate your time. Always appreciate you checking out the channel, and always appreciate you, buddies, to the end. But if you get the chance to fix some seam splits, play some records, or just have a good old time here on the YouTube channel, just spin it. Catch you later.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
Well, we out of time.